Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we look at the road ahead and all we see is fog, uncertainty, and fear. We imagine things going wrong before anything even happens. We forget that the future is not a monster waiting to attack us. It is simply a mirror of the choice we make today. When we worry too much, we drain the energy that could have been used to build something beautiful. Life becomes heavy when we carry to tomorrow on our shoulders today. When you focus on today instead of tomorrow, something powerful happens inside you. Your mind stops running in circles, your heart stops carrying unnecessary weight, and your energy returns to the present moment where your real power lives. Most of the fear we feel is not about what is happening right now. It is about the stories we create about tomorrow. These stories are usually exaggerated, heavy, and imagined. Drain our confidence before anything even begins. But when you shift your attention back to today, you take control again. You stop fighting imaginary battles and start building real progress. And each moment becomes clearer, calmer, and easier to handle because you are no longer stretching your mind across a future that has even arrived. Focusing on today also teaches you discipline. It teaches you to handle what is in your hands instead of worrying about what is out of your reach. The truth is, tomorrow is shaped by the quality of your actions today. If you spend today in fear, tomorrow becomes heavier. If you spend today in effort, tomorrow becomes easier. Life is built in layers, and every day is one more brick. When you place that brick carefully, with patience and intention, the structure of your future becomes stronger. But when you drop the brick because your hands are shaking from fear of the future, you delay your own progress. People often underestimate the power of one day. They think they need a full plan, a full guarantee, or a perfect timeline before they move. But nothing great starts that way. Everything great begins with one focused day. When you give your attention to today, you give yourself permission to grow at your own pace. You allow your mind to relax because it no longer has to solve the whole puzzle at once. You only ask it to place one piece, and that is manageable. That is double. That is how real strength is built, through tiny, consistent decisions that eventually transform the whole picture. Focusing on today also helps you feel grateful again. When your mind is always running towards the future, you stop noticing what is already going well. You overlook your own progress, your own courage, your own small wins. But when you come back to the present, you start seeing the steps you already taken. You realize that you have grown, even if slowly. You realize that you have survived situations you once thought were impossible. You realize that you have more stability, more skills, and more understanding than ever before. This recognition gives you confidence. It reminds you that if you could handle your past, you can handle your future too. Staying focused on today does not mean ignoring your goals. It means understanding that your goals depend on what you do right now. It means breaking the future into small bite-sized actions that you can complete without overwhelming yourself. It means training your mind to work with you, not against you. When you commit to today, you stop overthinking and start progressing. You stop imagining problems and start creating solutions. You stop waiting for the perfect time and start using the time you already have. Your mind becomes lighter because it is no longer carrying the weight of tomorrow. Your heart becomes calmer because it is no longer beating for problems that do not exist yet. And your life becomes clear because you are finally standing in the moment where your strength actually matters. When you give your attention to today, you take back control of your direction. You learn to trust yourself again. You learn to breathe again. You learn to move again. Fear blocks progress because it distracts your mind from what you can do and traps you in what you imagine might go wrong. When fear takes over, even simple tasks start feeling complicated. Your mind begins to create scenarios that have happened. Your energy shifts toward protecting yourself instead of improving yourself, and your confidence slowly fades. You start doubting your abilities, your plans, and sometimes even your own worth. This is the silent damage fear does. It doesn't stop life from moving, it only stops you from moving, and while fear pretends to keep you safe, it actually keeps you stuck. It convinces you that waiting is safer than trying. It convinces you that freezing is better than failing. But the truth is, fear is only powerful when you stand still and listen to it instead of walking past it. When you take action, something beautiful happens inside you. Your mind, which was busy imagining problems, shifts towards solving real ones. Action breaks cycle of overthinking and brings clarity. You begin to understand what works and what doesn't, what you need to improve, and what direction feels right. Action gives you answers that fear could never give. Even a small step forward creates momentum. It reminds you that you are capable, that the world isn't as scary as your thoughts make it, and that progress is possible as long as you keep moving. When you act, you transform that heavy pressure inside your mind into useful energy. You feel alive again because your focus returns to growth instead of avoidance. Fear grows in silence. It grows in delay. It grows when you sit with it for too long. But action kills fear because action is louder. When you do something, even if it's small, you remind yourself that you are not powerless. You remind yourself that you have a say in how your life moves. This is why clarity doesn't come before action. It comes after. You don't wait to feel ready. You create readiness by starting to. You don't wait to feel confident. You build confidence through doing. Every step teaches you something, even the wrong ones. Fear teaches you nothing. It only steals your chance to learn. Sometimes fear is not even about failure. It's about judgment, comparison, or the fear of wasting time. But all of this fade when you focus on your own journey. Instead of the world opinions, action pulls you back into your lane. It reminds you that this path is yours and no one else's. When you act, you stop comparing your pace to others because you are too busy building your own future. You realize that everyone starts uncertain, everyone begins with fear. The difference is that confident people act despite feeling afraid. They don't wait for courage, they create courage. Through consistency, action also brings truth. You may discover that something you were afraid of was actually easy. You may realize that a challenge you feared was manageable. You may understand that a goal you thought was impossible was reachable. Once you started breaking it into steps. Fear cannot survive in the presence of truth because fear survives on assumption, exaggerations, and what ifs. Action turns those what ifs into real experiences, and real experiences are always clear then. Imagine one's fear will always try to speak. It will always whisper doubts. It will always remind you of your insecurities. But when you take action, your walk is become stronger than that whisper. You prove to yourself that you are bigger than your fear. You learn to trust your own movement, your own growth, and your own strength. With every step, you make fear smaller, not because the world becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Small steps build big futures because every meaningful achievement in life begins with a single decision, a single action, a single moment of courage. People often wait for a dramatic breakthrough, a sudden opportunity, or a perfect turning point, but real growth, it doesn't happen in giant leaps. It happens quietly, slowly, and consistently through the tiny choices you make every day. One small improvement, one thoughtful action, one discipline habit repeated again and again can shape your entire direction. When you understand this, you stop underestimating the power of small steps. You begin to realize that progress doesn't need to be loud to be effective. Change doesn't need to be big to be meaningful. Even the smallest step creates movement, and movement is what breaks the cycle of stagnation. Small steps also protect you from overwhelm. When you look at a big goal all at once, it feels impossible. Your mind starts panicking, your confidence drops, and you convince yourself that the goal is too far, too difficult, or too complicated. But when you break that same goal into tiny steps, everything becomes manageable. Your mind relaxes because it only needs to focus on one thing at a time. You don't need to climb the entire mountain today. You just need to take one step forward. Bit by bit, the impossible becomes possible, the far becomes reachable, and the heavy becomes light. This is the magic of small steps. They turn fear into action and action into progress. Small steps also build discipline in a way big leaps cannot. Anyone can act with excitement for a day, but only consistent small actions build real habits. When you commit to doing a little every day, you train your mind to show off whether you feel motivated or not. You teach yourself reliability, responsibility, and patience over time. These small actions become your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who moves forward, someone who puts in effort, someone who grows constantly. And when your identity changes, your future changes with it. You no longer need motivation to continue. Your consistency itself becomes the fuel. Every small step also gives you feedback. It shows you what works and what doesn't. You learn from your results. You adjust your direction. You refine your methods. This learning is impossible when you try to rush the process. Big leaps can make you skip lessons, but small steps teach you everything. They teach you patience. They teach you resilience, and they teach you how to improve your strategy. You get better at understanding yourself, your strengths, and your weaknesses. You begin to notice patterns, and those patterns help you move smarter, not harder. With every small step, you gain clarity. Small steps also build confidence. When you take a little action and see even a little progress, you feel proud. You feel capable. That small win becomes proof that you can move forward. When you collect enough small wins, you begin to trust your abilities. You begin to trust your path, and this trust gives you the courage to take bigger steps later. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build through repeated action. Every small step adds one more layer to that confidence until it becomes unshakable. The future is never created in one moment. It is created in thousands of small decisions. How you spend your time, how you manage your emotions, how you choose your habits, how you respond to challenges, how you treat your goals. Every small step is a seed you plant. Some seeds grow quickly, some slowly, but all of them contribute to the final garden of your life. When you honor these small steps, you honor your future. You understand that greatness is not built on shortcuts. It is built on patience, persistence, and the courage to keep moving, even when progress is invisible. When you embrace small steps, you remove unnecessary pressure from your life. You stop trying to control everything at once. You stop rushing the process. You start trusting the journey. You start understanding that every big dream becomes real through small, steady movement. You don't need to jump far, you just need to move forward again and again with calmness, clarity, and faith in your direction. Trust your journey, and timing means understanding that life unfolds in ways you cannot always predict, control, or rush. Many times you want things to happen fast. You want answers immediately, and you want results without delay. But life has its own rhythm, its own flow, and its own pace. When you try to force everything, you exhaust yourself. You start doubting your path, questioning your decisions, and comparing your speed with others. But when you trust your journey, you begin to accept that every delay has a purpose, every detour has a lesson, and every slow moment is shaping you into someone stronger and wiser. You start to see that progress is not always visible, but it is always happening inside you. Growth is not loud. Growth is often silent, happening in moments where nothing seems to move. Trusting your journey means believing that where you are right now is not a mistake. Even if the path feels slow, even if your efforts haven't shown results, yet you are still moving forward. You are still learning, still evolving, still becoming someone capable of handling the future you want. Sometimes life holds things back because you are not ready yet, not because you are weak, but because you are growing into the version of yourself who will be able to carry the weight of the blessings you are asking for. Timing is a teacher. It prepares you, strengthens you, and shapes you, so you don't lose what you are working for once you receive it. Trusting the timing of your life also helps you stay calm in moments of uncertainty. When things don't go according to your plan, your mind naturally panics. You start assuming the worst, thinking something is wrong or feeling like you are falling behind. But when you trust your timing, you remind yourself that setbacks are not the end. They are part of your story. They are rearranging things for something better. You start seeing disappointments as redirections. You start seeing delays as protection. You learn to breathe in difficult moments because you know that everything that is meant for you will arrive at the right time, not a moment earlier and not a moment later. Trusting your journey helps you respect your individuality. Everyone is running their own race with their own challenges and their own deadlines. When you compare your timing with someone else, you forget how unique your path is. You forget that your background, your struggles, your dreams, and your responsibilities are different. Comparison steals your peace because it tricks you into thinking that you are behind. But when you trust your pace, you stop worrying about who is ahead or who is doing more. You start focusing on your own lane. You start valuing your inner growth instead of outer noise. Progress becomes personal, not competitive. When you trust your journey, you also learn patience. Patience is not about waiting quietly. Patience is about growing while you wait. It is about using the time to build skills, improve your mindset, understand yourself better, and strengthen your foundation. When your foundation is strong, success becomes stable. When your foundation is weak, success collapses. This is why timing matters. You are being prepared in ways you cannot see. You are being guided toward experiences that will shape your strength, sharpen your wisdom, and polish your character. Trusting the timing of your life makes you kinder to yourself. Instead of blaming yourself for not being there, yet you start appreciating how far you come. You start acknowledging your journey with softness instead of frustration. You learn that slow progress is still progress. You learn that rest is also part of the journey. You learn that storms don't mean your path is wrong. Sometimes storms are the push you need to grow. When you trust in your journey, you give yourself permission to be human. You understand that life is not a race. It is a series of moments shaping you into who you are meant to be. When you trust the timing of your life, you begin to walk with confidence instead of pressure. You stop rushing. You stop doubting. You stop comparing. You start flowing with life instead of fighting against it. You start recognizing that every chapter has meaning, every phase has purpose, and every step is taking you somewhere. And challenges shape strength because every difficult moment you face transforms you in ways comfort never can. When life becomes tough, your first reaction is often fear, confusion, or exhaustion. You feel like the weight is too heavy, the road too long, or the situation too unfair. But with time, you start realizing that every challenge forces you to access a part of yourself that you did not exist. Challenges make you think deeper, act wiser, and grow stronger. They teach you to stand off again even when standing feels impossible. They build endurance in your heart and clarity in your mind. Yet without challenges, you would never discover your real capacity, because true strength is revealed only when life tests. Every challenge carries a lesson that push you to evolve. It shows you what you need to improve habits, or slowing you down what mind set needs to change, and what direction you should avoid. When you face a problem, you are forced to rethink your approach. You become more organized, more strategic, and more focused. Failure teaches you more than success ever will. When something doesn't go your way, you learn to adjust, trust, you learn to adapt, you learn to make smarter decisions. Challenges teach you patience when life slows you down, and resilience when life knocks you down. These lessons build the foundation of long-term strength, because they shape not just what you do, but who you become. Challenges also reveal your hidden strength. You often think you can not handle something until you are placed in the middle of it. Suddenly you discover that you can survive more than you believed. You can endure more than you imagined. You can rise even when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. This discovery is powerful because it changes your identity. You no longer see yourself as weak or helpless. You begin to see yourself as capable, brave, and resilient. This self-belief becomes a lifelong source of strength. It becomes the voice that tells you you survived before you can survive again. Challenges also increase your emotional depth. They teach you empathy, because once you have suffered, you understand the suffering of others. They teach you humility, because you realize that life can humble anyone. At any time they teach you gratitude, because after going through dark moments, you start valuing the smallest forms of peace, happiness, and stability. Emotional strength is not built in easy days. It is built in moments where you have to hold yourself together, push through your can, and keep moving despite the heaviness inside your heart. When you face challenges, you learn depth of persistence. Strength doesn't come from winning once, it comes from trying again and again without giving up. Sometimes you will feel tired. Sometimes you will feel alone. Sometimes you will feel like nothing is changing. Yeah, but every time you push forward, even just a little, you are building inner muscles that can not be seen but can always be felt. Persistence becomes a habit, and once you develop this habit, no obstacle can break you easily. You learn that you don't need to be perfect. You just need to continue. Challenges also shift your perspective. Things that once bothered you stop affecting you, because your mind become tougher. Problems that once scared you become manageable, because you have learned how to deal with bigger storms. Your tolerance increases, your focus sharps, and your vision becomes clear. You begin to understand what truly matters and what doesn't. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. This is maturity, and it is always born from challenges. The more challenges you face, the more resilient you become. Not because life gets easier, but because you get strong. You learn to bend without breaking. You learn to heal without quitting. You learn to trust yourself, even when everything is uncertain. And slowly, you begin to see challenges not as punishments, not as opportunities to grow, to rise, and to evolve into someone wiser, braver, and more powerful than before. Progress matters more than perfection, because perfection is an illusion that keeps you stuck, while progress is the movement that actually transforms you. A life. Many people wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect skill before they start something meaningful. They delay action because they fear mistakes, judgment, or failure. But perfection is something no one ever truly achieves, and chasing it only drains your confidence. Progress, on the other hand, is real. It is measurable, visible, and achievable. When you choose progress over perfection, you free yourself from the pressure of being flawless. You allow yourself to grow, learn, and evolve with each step. You understand that improvement is a journey, not a sudden jump. Perfection creates fear, but progress creates momentum. The more you try, To be perfect, the more you overthink, you become afraid of starting because you want everything to look right from the beginning. You become afraid of trying because you want guaranteed success. This fear holds you back. It stops you from experimenting, exploring, and discovering your true potential. But when you focus on progress, you shift your mind set from "I need to be perfect" to "I only need to be better than yesterday." This simple shift removes pressure and brings clarity. It allows you to enjoy process instead of stressing about the outcome. Progress invites action, and action is what changes your reality. Progress also builds confidence. Every small improvement becomes proof that you are capable. When you see yourself moving forward, even just a little, you feel proud. You feel motivated. You begin to trust your abilities. Confidence is not built through perfection. It is built through showing up, consistently learning from your mistakes, and trying again. When you choose progress, you understand that mistakes are not failures. They are steps, they are lessons, helping you refine your skills and sharpen your vision. Perfection avoids mistakes, but progress uses mistakes as fuel for growth. When you focus on perfection, you set unrealistic expectations for yourself. You expect everything to align smoothly. You expect yourself to know everything in advance. You expect a straight, simple path. But real life is messy. Real growth includes setbacks, corrections, and adjustments. When things don't go perfectly, you begin to doubt yourself. You feel like you are not good enough. You feel discouraged. But if your goal is progress, setbacks don't shake you. You see them as part of the path. You understand that steps backward are normal and temporary. You stay committed because you know that forward movement, even slow, is still movement. Progress teaches patience. Perfection demands instant results. When you chase perfection, you become frustrated when things take time. You lose motivation when you don't see quick success. You pressure yourself to achieve too much too fast. But progress teaches you to value consistency over speed. You learn that real lasting change comes from steady effort. You learn to appreciate the small wins, the tiny breakthrough, and the gradual improvements that shape your long-term success. You